Hello, everyone. It's Cindy Whitmer here, and today, as promised, I'm going to talk about children and divorce. And this for today, I'm going to give just kind of general information, okay, just kind of a wide general response to this issue for children of all ages who are still in your homes growing up. Okay, still in your homes growing up. And I'll break it down more specifically in videos this week, different aspects of it, and really get into some nitty gritty things. But for today, I kind of want to give a wide, general response to how to help children with divorce. The number one way to help children with divorce is to take really good care of yourself. Remember, you're all going through the divorce, not just you, not just your ex or soon-to-be ex who is also their parent or who has been a step-parent perhaps to them if this is your second marriage or third or more. Either way, the person you're divorcing or who has divorced you or you're about to divorce has been in the parent role with them at some level, whether they're their biological parent or not. And you are all going through the divorce. And so you as one of the leaders of your family, as a parent, need to take really good care of yourself. Self-care, get your own needs met emotionally elsewhere, not from the children. Take care of yourself physically. Don't let yourself go. And take care of yourself spiritually, every way, mentally, financially. Have girls' nights out if you're a woman. I mean, time with friends, I guess I should say. Make sure you have a balance of time with friends or people who are very good to you and that you vent elsewhere, whether it's with a therapist or a friend, whatever, but take really good care of yourself, whatever self-care is. Take, relaxing baths, go get massages, time to yourself, doing things you love, whatever that is, so you can take better care of them. And remember that children are people too. I know that you may think I'm talking down to you, and I don't mean to sound like that at all. I think when we are in the trenches of a divorce, I've been through one myself, and I've been through my parents' divorces. And I think when we're in the thick of a very difficult, stressful time, sometimes we forget how much our children are like us, actually. They're just younger and less able to fulfill their own needs. That's why they need us. So, and they've had less life experience to help them through uncharted territory. This could be the hardest thing they've ever experienced, or that they may ever experience in their childhoods, their parents splitting up. And so they need you to remember that they're people and that they need to be respected just as much as you do. And so please keep that in mind. And we'll talk more about that too as the week goes on. The good news of divorce, if there is good news, is that the research does indicate that as long as a child has one reasonably stable, consistent, loving adult presence in their life, they will, for the most part, be able to cope and survive their parents' divorce. Often what happens, or what I've seen over the years, is that one parent remains pretty stable and one either abandons ship completely, leaves the family and abandons the kids, or is so distraught, doesn't cope well, or is mentally ill or abusive or addicted or to something, or is just not able to be consistent. And so then the other parent who's reasonably stable worries that, the kid is going to be messed up forever because of the other parent who's not getting it together. And of course, those things are going to affect your children. Absolutely. But like I said, the post-divorce research says that if a child at least has one person, and it may not even be one of you parents, it may be a grandparent, it may be a child care provider, it may be a school teacher, it may be a really involved neighbor. So if there's some consistent, loving, stable people in your children's lives, they will likely move through this gradually okay and come out the other side like okay. So that's the good news. That doesn't mean to let your guard down. You've got a lot of work to do here to move your children through this successfully. But that is comforting, I think. So, and outside of extreme circumstances that you know what I mean, probably, I don't need to list, your children need both their parents. Both. Not just you, but the other one. The other one that you can't stand to be married to anymore, or who can't stand to be married to you anymore, your child still needs in their lives. And so that is very important to keep in mind. Just because you don't want to be in a marital relationship with this person anymore doesn't mean that the child's relationship with that person also needs to end. Except when there's, extreme circumstances and legal circumstances, there are exceptions, but in general, most people, most of the time, the children need both parents. And I know that's hard to stomach sometimes. I know that's very difficult for people sometimes to stomach, because you may really not be able to stand this person, but they're still the dad or the mom of this child, or a step parent that's been around for a long time, whatever. So keep that in mind. When you're going through a divorce, there is a lot of change to manage, but try to minimize change as much as possible. For example, when I got divorced, I stayed living in the same town that the kids had lived in with all of us together. I moved 2 or 3 miles away from their father. They stayed in the same schools. They had their friends. They had their dad right across town and me right across town. They had both of us at all of their school activities. They maintained their family traditions with my side of the family and with their father's side of the family. They remained going to the same church. They could belong to all the same clubs, organizations. Everything they'd known pretty much stayed the same. The only change, which is big, I get, but the only change they really had to contend with was their dad and I not being married anymore, which is a huge change, definitely, which required adjustment. But sometimes people think it's best to get divorced, leave town, start fresh in a new town, get the kids in a new school, and everything. Well, then they're having to start over in so many areas of their lives. And this is a time when your parents break up, it's a time you need as much stability and consistency as possible. So try to minimize how many logistics really have to change. And even things like routines. Routines are nice to keep as much as possible. Standard of living is nice to keep as much as possible. Things like that. So they're only having to adjust to the big thing, which is, our parents no longer are married, or they probably think, oh, they don't love each other anymore, things like that. All of their feelings are acceptable. All of them, whether they're sad, whether they're mad at you, angry at the other, whether they're, many of them might think it's their fault. This is not good. Well, none of it feels good, but if they're feeling guilty, what did I do to cause your divorce, which some children will at certain ages, early elementary, those years, they're more prone to that kind of thing, reassure them. So, excuse me, but, in general, all feelings are acceptable. You need to let them have their emotional process here. It's very emotional for them. Their parents aren't together anymore. Divorce is very hard to wrap their brain around. And so please acknowledge their feelings and respect them, and don't try to talk them out of their feelings, accept guilt. We'll go into that more too. But in general, accept their feelings. When my parents got divorced, and the moment my mother announced to me and my sister, our brother was in college, but that they were getting a divorce, I started crying instantly. And she said, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't need to cry. It's fine. And I thought, excuse me, you just told me that our family's breaking up. And she also told me in the same sentence that we were moving away. And she didn't want me to cry. It wasn't okay to be sad with her. That's not realistic. So I'm not saying any of this to pick on my mother. I'm sure she was just it was probably one of the worst moments of her life, telling her children this. So I do feel for her now, but if your kids cry, it's like yeah, I'm sorry. I know this is really sad. It's sad for me too. It's okay to cry. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to feel what you feel. And, I'm sorry you're having to be faced with this, etc. Anyway, apologize to your children. That's a good idea. And the last thing is that with your ex or soon-to-be ex, co-parenting has now become your most important role with this person until the children are grown, especially, and out on their own, especially. You are forever connected to this person because of having children with this person. It's very important to accept that. You don't have to be married to them anymore, so you don't have to deal with all the BS between the two of you. That's your own private relationship. But it's very, very important that you get it together to co-parent and get over yourselves to co-parent well. I sound a little harsh. I'm very opinionated about this, but it's so critical. And I've dealt with this with people for decades. And I know it's difficult. So I will do an entire video, at least one, on how to do this well or ways to navigate through it when you're not getting cooperation from the other side, and things like that. Because I do realize that it's not all up to you. We really need both of you to come to the middle here, and it's not easy to do with someone you're divorced with, because if you had such great skills working together, you may not be getting a divorce in the first place. But one of the best things you can do initially is say to yourself, okay, all I have to do now with this person is co-parent. We don't have to fight anymore about how we pay the bills. We don't have to fight anymore about sharing household responsibilities or the fact that, he or she cheated on me or we cheated on each other or lied to each other or, all of those other, things that happened in the marriage. They're over, but parenting continues. So now anything you can do to step up, bite your tongue, and do that well will serve your children really, really well. It's one of the best gifts you can give them in this very difficult time. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. But those 7 things are general things to keep in mind as you're facing divorce or going through a divorce, when you have children. And, I get it that it's tough. I've been through it. And I know it's not easy. None of this is simple. But it's worth your every effort to manage parenting well during this process. It will make a huge difference. Huge in the lives of your children and in their future. And what is more important to you than that? I know you love your kids. I know you do. And I know you hate it that you had to put them through what you've put them through so far. And, I get all of that. I really do. Because I've been there. And I've walked through with so many people through this. So anyway, keep those things in mind, those general truths in mind, and then I'll get a little more specific in these next videos about this. And if you have specific questions or a specific thing you want me to address, message me below or privately. You can do that too. You can message me privately through my Facebook fan page, and I will address it anonymously in an upcoming video this week. So anyway, I hope this helps. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.